growth is hard. And popular preaching says, oh, let's just avoid hardship. Biblical preaching, biblical theology says, you've got to learn how to endure it and go through it, because on the other side of it, on the other side of your obedience is where God shows up and God does some of the most incredible things in our life.
Welcome to the Everyday Faith Podcast, where we believe you can live out your faith every day by starting with belief, embracing your mission, committing to obedience, and pursuing community. I'm Jess.
And I'm Dan. Today, we're excited to welcome our incredible friend, John Velsor, to the podcast. John is a senior pastor in Minnesota, where he and his wife, Shannon, are raising their two incredible sons. He's also the founder of Kingdom Leadership, where he equips leaders to grow spiritually and personally. John's passionate about speaking transformation in lead. Wow, look at that. I can't even read a script.
You're just going fast.
I am going fast.
Breathe.
Okay, I got to breathe. Okay, I'm going to keep going.
Breathe.
Welcome to our
Breathe through
podcast.
this.
We're just real people here. John's passionate about sparking transformation in leaders, families, organizations by helping people lead the way God intended. We're going to have a great conversation today. John, you're so awesome. Thank you for coming on. He also is traumatized by another podcast, and so we're going to make it so that this is a good one for him. Welcome.
It's gonna be fun and healthy. Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here. I don't think I've ever had an introduction quite like that, but I'm excited about it. It's gonna be fun.
John's one of my favorite people, so we're going to have too much fun today.
I'll try and rein you guys in. I don't know.
It's going to be awesome. Hey,
That is going to be your job, Jess. The rest of us, we're on our own.
You're just along for the ride. All the listeners, I don't know. I'm sorry ahead of time.
So tell us, how did you come to know the Lord? That didn't sound good at all.
Yeah, I grew up
either.
in...
Did I say that?
What? I don't.
How did you come to
Did
know
you
the Lord?
come to know the Lord?
I'm like, am I speaking old King James
Okay,
here?
can we just like, shoot? Here we go. All
All
right.
right, we are focused. We're serious. So
I was traumatized before. Now I'm really traumatized.
Should we just start everything
No.
from the top? I don't know
Good.
what to do right now.
I think this is so fun.
I think we've lost a few people already.
No,
Jess,
I
are you
think-
thinking starting all over?
No,
Jess is like, let's do it as again.
we're continuing on. Dude, how did you find Jesus? There you
I love it. Yeah. For me, I grew up in a Christian home, and my parents weren't saved all their life, but they were saved all my life. And so there were a lot of things that they were able to overcome in their life, and some addictions. And so I grew up going to church, and really, I think at a young age, started to kind of try to feel it out and see what faith was all about. I grew up in what I would call the belt buckle of the Bible Belt in North Carolina. And so everything was more about rules, regulations, do's and don'ts.
Sure.
And for me, probably about age 14, I didn't walk away. My personality is I ran. I took off running. And at age 14, I really started getting involved in drugs and alcohol. And by the age of 23, I was in a full-blown addiction. It was everything that I needed to cope, everything I needed to do life. It was all wrapped up in my addiction. And long story short was on April 18th, 1999, I went to a church, but not to go to service there. That's actually where I would sell drugs. I felt like it was the safest place to sell drugs. So if I got caught, I could do two things. One, I could ask for forgiveness, and hopefully they would, forgive me. And then two, this one specific church had 3 different exits that led to 3 different cities. I learned later on in life I was strategic. I had strategy in my mind at all times.
Okay.
And so drug deal got delayed. I go inside and high as a kite, and I'm watching and listening. And somehow through all of that, even though I heard the message of Jesus several times, there was this moment where something really just got into my heart, and I began to feel Jesus. And I remember my parents would always say, I heard the voice of God. I'm like, I need you here. And I remember sitting at an altar and saying, God, if you're real, if you'll tell me what it is that every time I gave my life to you, it didn't stick. And if you tell me what it is, I'll yell it out. I thought God would start with something easy like lying, like, yeah, you were dishonest. Like we could start there. But God decided to start with the hard stuff like, hey, why don't you lay down the drugs that are in your pocket? And I'm like, oh, Lord, not here. Like these people, what are they going to do with it? And so I literally just pulled out a bag of marijuana in one pocket, a bag of cocaine in another pocket, and just laid it on the floor. I didn't open my eyes. I didn't want to see what anybody else saw. I didn't want to see what they were thinking. And right then and there, I just started laying things down, literally on the altar, laying my heart, laying my life. And so on April 18th, 1999 was the day that I said yes to following Jesus. And that was the beginning for me. And God met me at my lowest. I left there that night and never turned back.
Wow.
And so I found freedom that night from all my addictions and just continued to start that journey of living out my faith.
That's incredible.
Wow.
So life was really easy for you from April 18th, 1999 and on, right?
I was 7 at that
Until
time.
now, yeah.
Yeah.
You were 7.
You were 6.
I was 23.
Oh, I was 6. Jess was
and a
7.
half.
My bad. I was 6. Jess was
6 and a half.
7.
You were almost there.
Jess is older than me. in case you
That's
wanna
the
know.
ages of your kids right now, right?
Something like
I mean,
that.
they're younger than that, but that's okay. You don't know that.
No,
It's
but-
okay.
I mean, it was probably not completely smooth sailing from there. Yeah.
Well, okay, question. So at some point, you were like, your heart was open to receiving that message. Was it still hard as a rock? I've got things going on. I'm making good money here. Or like, were you in a low spot personally and open to hearing?
Oh,
that?
100% low spot.
So was this like a facade you were showing?
Oh,
Like-
yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was I walked into church. I remember that day. I had a marijuana leaf t-shirt. I had 2 big hoop earrings. I had a tongue ring, shaggy hair, baggy pants. I'd fit in today. Today, they're like, dude, that guy's cool. That was in style back then. And I just always say that, like, that t-shirt to me was always, it was more of like a cry for help in moments.
Mm.
And it wasn't more of a rebellious, even though I may have thought it was. It was really a cry for help, a desperate need that I had, not just through the addictions, but even mentally, emotionally, physically, just things that I was walking through as a young man, misdiagnosed with ADHD and just trying to figure out life. But I know that I was at a low spot. You're at a bad spot when people around you who you normally get high with say, hey, we can't hang out with you anymore. Like, you just take it too far. You're in a bad spot when you're getting high in a garage by yourself and there's nobody else around you. And I think it was probably one of my most lonely moments, but on the outside, I didn't let people see that. And when you step into the altar, and I love that, the idea that the altar is a place of change. It's where we meet with God and God changes us. I couldn't hide any of that anymore. And God shows up and meets me right where I was and saw through all of it and brought healing into my life. And that was a journey. It's like kind of like what you were saying there, Jess. It's a journey. And so I might have stopped drinking and using drugs that night, but there were still other things that God had to really redeem and rescue in my heart and in my life.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that he doesn't like just instantly clean you up? You know what I mean? Like, he allows it to be a journey. That's really interesting. Someone wearing, an offensive shirt, let's call it, really looking at it as like a cry for help. So thank you for sharing that. I'm like, man, next time I see someone with an offensive shirt, I'll be like, I'll think differently. So
How can I help you?
how can I help you? You look like you're in need.
I had a friend named John. He
Let me
told
tell
me
you.
one
He
time.
was doing drugs.
He was crying for help. Are you crying on the inside? Let it out.
I don't think that's the approach. I don't think
I
you
like
do
it.
that.
I like it. Okay. So now going into living out your faith every day. Obviously, it's a journey. We wish that the Lord would just, get us right instantly, but that'd also be very boring. So tell us
Yeah.
about living out the faith every day.
Yeah, I would say part of it is learning to live what's called the cruciform life. And so cruciform is shaped by the cross. And so our life is shaped by the cross. We're not just saved by the cross, but we're we're shaped by the cross. And I think oftentimes popular preaching, pop culture theology will try to teach you how to avoid hardship, but biblical theology teaches you how to go through it and grow through it. So I didn't just give my life to the Lord and say yes so I can go to heaven. It was yes to everything that he wanted to do in my heart and in my life. And I think sometimes we just think, well, I'll just give my life to the Lord and everything will be great. And kind of what you were talking about, Jess, where it's like, you don't just avoid hardship, you grow through it. And to think that just because we give our life to the Lord, that we'll never face it. I always say it like this: a gospel without the cross isn't the gospel at all. And just as Jesus had to endure the cross, so do we. We've got to endure the hardship. We've got to walk through those moments, because those are the moments that shape us. And if you think about Jesus on the cross, his hands are up in surrender to the Lord, but his arms are also open wide in this sacrificial love for other people. That's what it looks like to live the cruciform life. Hands surrendered to the Lord and arms open to the people around us. It's surrender and sacrifice. And Jesus didn't just die on a cross, he lived. And that's what it looked like for 33 years of his life. So what he did on the cross is what he did for 33 years.
Wow. That's hard to imagine, because I feel like I can't even get through a day with truly, being surrendered to the Lord and sacrificial. Together, those two things. Wow. That's
where it's hard, but growth doesn't come. Like if you go to the gym and you tell the trainer, man, this is easy, they're going to tell you, well, you're not doing it right. And so growth doesn't come from being in a comfortable spot. Growth comes from living the cruciform life. So you've got to learn how to endure those things. That's what James, the half brother of Jesus, was saying when he was talking about, hey, when troubles come from any kind of way, you've got to consider it a pure opportunity for great joy in your life. Because when you walk through those moments, he says that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. That's where growth comes from. And I've got to endure those moments. That's what the scripture says, take up your cross and follow me daily, that we would follow Christ in those moments.
Can you talk about the intersection of that and obedience, how that fits into this puzzle? Because I know, starting with belief, of course, having the right foundation, feeding that, growing in what that foundation is. But then there's also obedience. And I'm curious how you would kind of weave those together.
Yeah, that's the part I think where most of us struggle, and myself included, because James isn't saying, hey, we should be praying for an easier life. He's saying, hey, you should use that pressure to prepare you for something that God wants to do. And I would say it this way, that just as Jesus didn't avoid the cross, he endured it, that on the other side of the cross, on the other side of obedience, is the power of the resurrection. It's the power of a miracle. It's the power of the Holy Spirit. It's learning how to do what God's called you to do, even when it's difficult, even when it's hard. When James is talking about not avoiding the difficult moments and the hardships in our life, he's actually talking about stepping into the obedience, that we're not praying for this easier life, but we're asking God to use those moments to prepare us for what he has. So Jesus didn't avoid the cross, he endured the cross. And here's what's unique, is on the other side of obedience is the power of the resurrection. Remember, Jesus on the cross said, if it be thy will, let this cup of suffering pass from me. He didn't want to do it. But on the other side of obedience was a miracle. And I think oftentimes everybody wants the power of the resurrection in their life, but nobody wants the crucifixion. We want the miracle, but the main ingredient for a miracle is a problem.
Wow, right.
We want the miracle, but we don't want the problem. We want the resurrection, but we don't want the death. And on the other side of obedience is where we step into that intersection that you were talking about, where God begins to show up and do what only God can do. And so if we try to avoid the pain the endurance, the hardship, the difficulty, the setback, that we may miss out on the power of the resurrection,
Wow.
the power of the Holy Spirit moving in our life and in our circumstance. So obedience is this moment that we step into it rather than leaning back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love what you say about in order to have a miracle, you need a problem.
Yeah.
And we're all just like, I wish this could be comfortable. I don't know where it all went wrong, but I totally remember, like, man, you asked Jesus into your heart. It's the best thing you can do. Your life's going to be great afterwards. And it's like, well, you should have given it a little more context than great afterwards. It's like, great, and you will die to yourself. Like, you forgot that
every
part.
day.
Every day.
It was interesting. Like, I gave my life to the Lord, and I thought, man, I'm winning. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I'm literally going to really overcome this time. I'm going to make this thing happen. I get home and I'm talking to my mom and my dad about it. And my mom says that in that moment right there at the altar, my mom was super excited. She turned to look at somebody and she was like, I'm just happy for this moment. And there's a guy literally in the altar who's like, well, I mean, don't get too excited. It's just going to be a phase. And it's like, huh? Like, I just had this great moment, and you still have to walk through, somebody else's thoughts or opinion of yourself, or you still walk through hardship. Growth is hard. And popular preaching says, oh, let's just avoid hardship. Biblical preaching, biblical theology says, you've got to learn how to endure it and go through it, because on the other side of it, on the other side of your obedience is where God shows up, and God does some of the most incredible things in our life. But it's going to require us to be uncomfortable at times and walk through hard stuff.
And consider it pure joy.
Right. So, question, is it, do you mean to say that everybody, you have to go through hard seasons? Is that, because I'm thinking about, the people that may be listening and they're like, I don't know, life is good. I don't remember the last time there was really a hard season. Like, everything's just been smooth sailing for the last 47 years. And
I mean, that's dangerous.
So sometimes it's like, wow, that's good for you, but I don't know if that is good for them. What I'm hearing you say is that maybe you need to step into some deep waters or something.
Can I answer this one, John? I mean, the first, you can correct it. My thought is, that's scary. If you're like, my life is good, everything's great, nothing's ever gone wrong. Ever. Honestly, like, the devil's like, I'll just let him be. He's not doing much for God's kingdom. He's not doing much to raise a good family. He's not doing much for his community. So if you're like, I haven't gone through struggle, first off, you're lying to yourself. And then secondly, if it's true, I would be more afraid of that, because that means that there's no target on your back, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah, and I would ask the question, like, then I'm happy for you, but show me where the growth is. Because growth comes from hard things. And I'm not saying they didn't endure hard things. Some people have a higher pain tolerance, and that's great. Like, I didn't go through that. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up with a great life, great family, great home. I just didn't have that. And I think that's amazing. That's a testimony of God's faithfulness in your life. But there are moments that I think every single one of us have to endure. So to the person who would ever say, I don't have that, my life is great, I would just say, yeah, that was me at 23 years old, shaggy hair, hoop rings, tongue ring, baggy pants, marijuana leaf t-shirt, looking at you going, my life's great. And everybody else around is like, yeah, I don't think so. We prefer not to hang out with you. You're like, oh, okay. So sometimes it's people's inability to lean into hard things. And then you have to ask, where's that growth? Because growth will always require us to do hard things, like to live that cruciform life. For me, I'll just say it's not just in hard seasons. Like, I went through a hard thing. If you're going to live the cruciform life, you have to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's choosing to forgive somebody when they don't deserve it. That's leaning into the hard. It's loving somebody who hurt you. It's staying faithful when it would be easy to just leave. It's trusting when it doesn't make sense. It's saying yes when everything inside of you says no.
Yeah.
And those are some of the hard things that you lean into, because the truth is that's what it looked like for Jesus on the cross, that cruciform life. Like, I don't really want to do this and it doesn't make sense. But then there's that moment where you say, but Lord, if it be thy will, let this cup of suffering pass. Not my will, but your will be done. And so I think sometimes it's just a matter of like trying to walk through that and let your life grow. Lean into it. Lean into those difficult moments. Lean into those hard things.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that a lot of people, comfort is such a big enemy, right, to growth. And so I think that's the main thing, is a lot of times people aren't asking God, like, hey, what do you have for me? Or what do you want me to do? How can I get out of my comfort zone for the kingdom? And, we're afraid to ask that question because we don't actually really want to get uncomfortable. And, because everything's good right now, but if I don't want to create waves here, so let's just keep it good.
Right, that's a cool thing. Like, maybe that's God saying, hey, this is your season to be cool, and that's great. But don't think this is going to be forever.
Yeah.
As we wrap up part 1, John, what is something you'd want to encourage us with or equip us with?
Yeah, I would say, stay faithful in those hard seasons. Trust when it feels like you can't trust. And when you walk through that, the cruciform life, the cross-shaped life doesn't just change you. It forms Christ in you. And so when endurance grows up, James says it, that you become mature and complete. And I just encourage you in these moments of hardship, difficulty, setbacks, struggles, trials, tribulations, whatever it may be, that rather than leaning back, man, I encourage you to lean in, because on the other side of obedience is a miracle that's waiting to happen.
That's so good.
Wow. Well, thank you, John. And we're excited. You have a great personal story you'll be sharing in episode 2. So make sure you come back.
Can't wait to come back.
Thank you for listening to this conversation from the Everyday Faith Podcast. Our goal is to inspire everyday faith conversations. Please join us by rating and reviewing wherever you're listening, and most importantly, by sharing with a friend. For more resources like this, visit our website, askaboutmyfaith.com. God bless you as you live out your faith in your everyday rhythms of life.